Presidential Executive Order, Exclusions from Federal Labor Management Relations Programs, March 27, 2025. Section 1. Determinations. Identifies specified agencies and subdivisions, listed later in Section 2, as having intelligence, investigative, or national security as primary functions, and thus determines that Chapter 71 of Title V, Federal Labor Management Relations Law, cannot be applied to them consistently with national security considerations. Similarly, determines certain subdivisions, listed later in Section 3, as primarily national security focused, and states that Subchapter X of Chapter 52 of Title 22, Foreign Service Labor Management Relations, cannot be applied consistently with national security considerations. Section 2. Additional National Security Exclusions. Amending Executive Order 12,171. Adds multiple federal departments agencies and their subdivisions to the National Security Exclusions list, effectively exempting them from federal labor management relations statutes. Agencies include, among others, State, Defense, with exceptions, Treasury, excluding Bureau of Engraving and Printing, Veterans Affairs, Justice, Department of Health and Human Services, including FDA, CDC, NIH subdivisions, Department of Homeland Security, including USCIS, ICE, Coast Guard, FEMA, and CISA, Department of Interior, e.g., Bureau of Land Management, Department of Energy, excluding FERC, Department of Agriculture, Food Safety and Inspection, APHIS, International Trade Administration, EPA, USAID, Nuclear Regulatory Commission, NSF, ITC, FCC, GSA, Chief Information Officer subdivisions across departments. Clarifies exceptions, including local employing offices of police, security guards, or firefighters, except Bureau of Prisons, subdivisions of the U.S. Marshals Service, and any subdivisions of Defense, Veterans Affairs, specifically exempted by their secretaries. Section 3. Foreign Service Exclusions, Amending Executive Order 12,171. Establishes exclusions from Foreign Service Labor Management Statutes, 22 U.S.C. Chapter 52, Subchapter 10, identifying State Department and USAID subdivisions as having national security-related primary functions. State Department subdivisions excluded include offices directly reporting to senior officials, secretary, deputy secretaries, undersecretaries, and all diplomatic missions and consular offices. USAID subdivisions excluded include overseas missions, field offices, and offices directly reporting to the administrator and deputy administrators. Section 4. Delegation of authority to Defense and Veterans Affairs Secretaries. Grants authority to the Secretaries of Defense and Veterans Affairs to suspend exclusions of their respective subdivisions, thereby allowing union relations, subject to two conditions: certification that reinstating labor management statutes aligns with national security requirements, publication of such certification within 15 days in the Federal Register. Section 5. Delegation of authority to Transportation Secretary. Grants the Secretary of Transportation authority to exclude any subdivision, including FAA, from federal labor management laws, or suspend such laws for installations outside the continental U.S. and D.C. to maintain national transportation security and workforce flexibility. Requires the Secretary's determination to be published in the Federal Register. Section 6. Implementation. Upon expiration of applicable collective bargaining agreements, agency heads must reassign employees previously performing non-agency union-related activities exclusively to agency duties, cease agency participation in pending grievance arbitration proceedings or unfair labor practice proceedings involving such employees. Section 7. Additional review. Within 30 days, agency heads must report to the President identifying other subdivisions not currently exempted that primarily handle national security duties and cannot feasibly comply with labor management statutes, explaining reasons for such determinations. Overview/summary. This executive order broadly expands exemptions from federal labor management relations laws to multiple federal departments and subdivisions, citing their national security, intelligence, investigative, or counterintelligence functions. Departments significantly impacted include State, Defense, Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, Interior, Agriculture, and Energy, among others. It specifically delegates to Secretaries of Defense, Veterans Affairs, and Transportation the power to adjust these exemptions under certain national security conditions. The order mandates the reassignment of union-related duties and termination of existing labor-related grievances upon expiration of collective bargaining agreements. Finally, it directs agency heads to evaluate and report additional subdivisions, potentially requiring exclusion, underscoring the administration's effort to prioritize national security considerations over certain collective bargaining activities within federal agencies. Subscribe for more!